Hey, good morning everyone. It's Friday, August 30th, the Friday morning after TNA Impact with the return of the immortal Hulk Hogan. Now, if you've watched any of my previous TNA videos, you would know my thoughts on the company as well as the product is not very positive. You'd actually have to say my feelings on TNA are pretty negative. Now, you would also know that on Thursday nights, I no longer watch TNA. I watch it on my DVR Friday morning. So your first question might be, Jeff, what did you watch last night? Well, here's what I watched. I watched some preseason NFL football. And then I watched Impractical Jokers while flipping back and forth with Pawn Stars on the History Channel. That right there should speak volumes, coming from a wrestling fan, that instead of watching wrestling when it was on, I chose to watch a television show that is on the True Network. And I also chose to watch preseason meaningless football. So, I think that speaks volumes to my true feelings on TNA at this current time. So, instead of bashing TNA like I could do, because after I watched Impact this morning, I saw so many problems, I've decided I'm going to go down a different road. I'm going to go down the road of when TNA finally does go out of business, what will happen to its top stars? I think everyone knows what will happen to the top stars. They'll end up in WWE. Something a true wrestling fan cannot wait to see happen. Let's go down fantasy lane. Think about CM Punk against Austin Aries. What kind of an amazing match would those two guys have? Both of them are ridiculously skilled on the mic. So the build-up alone would be a three-ring circus between CM Punk and Aries. They're just both ridiculously talented when it comes to mic work. Not to mention how good both of them are technically in the ring. I think they could have a main event match on any pay-per-view. Austin Aries versus, CM Punk. I think if you're a wrestling fan, you want to see that match. The next match that I think would be amazing to have happen would be a submission match with Samoa Joe and Daniel Bryan. Both these guys are very, very talented when it comes to submission wrestling. And I think that any true wrestling fan would be overjoyed to see a match with the two of them. Even if you're just solely a TNA fan and you call me a WWE mark, I don't think you can argue the fact that, Samoa Joe versus Daniel Bryan would be a very entertaining match. Now, another match that I think everyone has talked about for years is Sting versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania. Now, we all know that Sting doesn't have the best feelings about the WWE, but I do believe Sting understands that to cement his, legacy in wrestling, he needs to do one match at WWE. Even if it's not against The Undertaker, Sting's body of work in wrestling is top level. Seriously. I think Sting could be compared to Hogan, to Flair, to Mick Foley, to Terry Funk. Sting's, accomplishments in wrestling warrant him being in a real Hall of Fame. The WWE Hall of Fame, that is. And the reason I say a real Hall of Fame is because if my outlook on TNA is correct and they do end up closing the door, Sting being in the TNA Hall of Fame really is meaningless because you're in a Hall of Fame for a company that went out of business. So Sting really needs to get a match in with WWE so he can be inducted into a real Hall of Fame, and long after Sting is dead, wrestling will be around, but so won't Sting's legacy because of being in the Hall of Fame. It's much like some baseball players, what they did when they were on the field. When they are dead and gone, people still remember them because when they go to the Hall of Fame, they see, their exhibit. So, I think, a lot of wrestling fans would be very happy to see TNA close its doors because of the potential matches that you could have with some of the TNA talent against some of the WWE talent. And then obviously we have to go to Alan Jones, better known as AJ Styles. He is the best all-around wrestler that TNA has to offer. He would be a heavyweight champion in the WWE. There's no way around it. He can do everything. And I hope for AJ's sake, he does get out of TNA soon, because I really feel that AJ is a main stage wrestler. I believe he needs to have a huge spotlight on him. I believe he deserves to have those 20 to 30,000 fans cheering for him instead of these little 1,000-person, TNA venues. I believe AJ deserves to be on a much bigger stage than what TNA is giving him. So, that's the road I want to go down. I want to go down the fantasy matches road for when TNA does close its doors. Now let me smash TNA a little bit. Last night on Impact, I don't know if Hulk Hogan, because of his old age, is starting to go a little senile, but he gave Sting a championship match against Bully Ray at the end of Impact. Hey Hulk, in case you forgot, the last time Sting and Bully Ray met, there was a stipulation that said if Sting lost, he would never be able to wrestle for the heavyweight title again. He lost, but yet somehow you gave him another title match? I don't get it. It makes no sense to me. And the other thing that I don't like about Hulk Hogan is that friggin' word, brother, brother, brother. He reminds me of the Budweiser frogs from the early 90s, where they sat there in the friggin' swamp on the lily pads and were Bud, Wise, I don't know, man. I am so sick of hearing Hulk Hogan say brother. Anyone out there that likes sports, you know who Lou Holtz is. See this guy right here? This right here is Lou Holtz. Lou Holtz is sick of hearing the word brother, brother. I'm a wrestling icon, brother. Everyone is sick of Hulk Hogan and that fucking word, brother. He needs to stop saying it. I don't know if he is stuck in the 1980s and he thinks that the word brother is prevalent in today's society, but it's not. I am so sick of hearing him say brother. You know what TNA should be ashamed of and embarrassed by? Last night, live on Impact, they had a yes chant going. The yes chant was louder than any other chant that they had on Impact. TNA should be embarrassed by this. A guy comes up with a chant who isn't in your company, and yet their chant is the loudest thing to happen on your show. That is ridiculous. You should be embarrassed. You should want to go backstage, go in the production truck, and yell at everyone working there because they should have muted the television program when everyone started chanting yes for Daniel Bryan, who doesn't work for your company. You guys are a joke. TNA will be shutting its doors in the next year. You guys are so far downhill. Your writing is garbage. Your product is garbage. And for every talented person on your payroll, I plead with you to let them go to the WWE. Let them have the big spotlight they deserve. Let them make the more money that they should be making. Okay? Please, TNA, let your talent go to a better company. Give them the opportunity. Let them do something productive with their lives. They are wrestling in venues that are 95% blacked out by black felt because you guys don't want people to see that you can't sell out a 2,500 seat arena. TNA is low budget. It is second tier. And it's a shame that guys like Magnus, Samoa Joe, Austin Aries, AJ Styles, even Sting. It's a shame that guys that are so talented have to wrestle in such a Bush League promotion. Dixie Carter, if you have any compassion for people like AJ and Austin Aries, you would allow them out of their contract and you would give them the opportunity to go to a bigger company with a bigger spotlight, with a better payday. Stop holding these guys back. That's my rant on TNA Impact for August 29th. like my video.